Hello, everyone. People often think that being rich is about what's in your bank account. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Real richness starts in your mind. Yes, up here. More points to head. It's not just about money. It's about mindset. It's about how you program yourself to think, act, and believe in a way that attracts success. And before you ask, no, this isn't some magic trick or overnight fairy tale. This is real. And today I want to share with you how to program yourself to be rich from the inside out. Let's begin. Let's start with the truth. Most people chase a version of rich that doesn't even belong. It's them. It's borrowed. It's stitched together from glossy magazine covers, overhyped Instagram posts, and movies that show wealth as champagne, on yachts, a mansion by the sea, and a walk-in closet full of designer shoes. And while there's nothing wrong with those things, if you genuinely want them, the real question I ask you, do you want that life because it fulfills you or because it impresses others? See, the biggest mistake people make is thinking that being rich is only about having more money. They assume that the size of your bank balance defines your success. But the real wealth, it's something else. It's that quiet confidence that lets you walk into any room and know who you are. It's waking up with purpose, going to bed with peace, and living each day knowing you're doing what you were meant to do. That's richness. That's the kind of life that doesn't just shine on the outside. It glows from within. You need to ask yourself, what does rich really mean to me? Is it security for your family? Is it the freedom to travel whenever you want? Is it having time, actual time, to read, to rest, to be with the people you love? Maybe it's building something of your own. Maybe it's creating impact, not just income. You'd be surprised how many people climb a ladder chasing a version of success only to realize later they were leaning on the wrong wall. Growing up, many of us were handed ideas about success that didn't fit us. We were told, be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. That's the path to money, and money is the path to happiness. But happiness doesn't come from status. It doesn't come from being the richest person in the room. It comes from alignment. When what you do, what you believe, and how you live all move in the same direction. That's real richness. That's sustainable. And let's talk about freedom. The underrated luxury. Real wealth means you can say no when something doesn't feel right. It means you don't have to sell your time, your values, or your health just to survive. When you have enough, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, to make decisions from a place of strength, that's freedom. That's richness. Because what's the point of having millions if you're miserable, burnt out, and living a life that doesn't belong to you? There are people with less money than you who are living richer lives. Why? Because they've defined the success on their own terms. They've chosen joy over pressure, purpose over popularity, clarity over chaos. They aren't chasing a lifestyle. They're building a life, one that reflects their heart, not the algorithm. And that's powerful. That's the kind of wealth no one can take from you. Sometimes we confuse being busy with being successful. We fill our calendars and our closets hoping that it'll fill the emptiness inside. But here's the truth. Richness has nothing to do with how much you earn and everything to do with how alive you feel If your work drains you, if your relationships suffocate you, if your days feel like a checklist and your nights feel like a countdown, then no amount of money will fix that. But if you wake up with a spark, if you feel connected, if you smile more often than you sigh, you're already richer than most. This is why the first step in programming yourself to be rich isn't setting a financial goal. It's setting a personal one. It's looking inward and asking, what kind of life feels rich to me? Not to society, not to your relatives, not to your classmates or your competitors, to you. And once you answer that, your whole mindset shifts. You stop running in a race that exhausts you and start walking a path that excites you. Suddenly, you're not chasing, you're creating, you're not proving, you're living. Money is a tool, a powerful one, yes. But it's not the destination, it's not the purpose, it's a resource to build the life you've already imagined. But the imagination part, that's yours, and the definition of rich, that's yours too. So take it back, make it yours, rewrite it, reclaim it, because the day you do, you stop playing someone else's game and start building a world that actually belongs to you. You know how sometimes you hear a song from your childhood and suddenly you're transported back to a memory you didn't even know you had. That's how the mind works. It plays loops, stories, old tracks on repeat. Some of those tracks are empowering, but many of them are limiting. They tell you who you are, what you can or can't do, and where your boundaries supposedly lie, and the dangerous part. You don't even realize it's a script. You think it's your truth. You think it's who you are. But really, it's just something you were told so many times that you started believing it. Maybe someone once told you that you weren't smart enough, so now you doubt your ideas. Maybe someone laughed when you said you wanted to be successful, so now you hesitate to dream big. Or maybe you've just heard it from society over and over again. People like us don't make it. Money changes people. Stick to what's safe. And slowly that becomes your internal script. The saddest part is not that someone else wrote it, but that you never stopped to edit. You never stopped to ask, hey, is this even my story? Let's get one thing clear. Your mind is not a prison, it's a program. And like any program, it can be updated. But that means you have to become aware of the words you use with yourself. Listen closely the next time you say, I'm not good with money, or I'm just not lucky, or this is just how life is. Because that's not fact. That's programming. That's the result of repetition, not truth. The more you say it, the deeper it's etched into your identity. And the only way to change it is to interrupt it, question it, and rewrite it. Consciously, think about the people you admire, not the flashy, fake ones, but the ones who've really built something of value. You'll notice something. They speak differently. Their vocabulary is wired for belief. They don't say, I'll never make it. They say, I'm still figuring it out. They don't say, it's too hard. They say, this is part of the process. That's not just optimism. That's strategy. They've trained their inner voice to work for them, not against them. And you can do the same. It starts with awareness. Catch yourself in the act. Every time you say something self-limiting, pause. Ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, then why are you saying it to yourself? You don't need to be your own critic all the time. You don't get a prize for being harsh. What you need is to be your own coach, your own cheerleader, your own anchor. The world will try to shake your confidence. Don't help it. This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting your foundation, saying, I'm not good at this yet, saying, I don't know how to do this, but I can learn. Those tiny changes in language create a massive shift in identity. Suddenly, you're not stuck. You're evolving. You're not broken. You're building. And that changes everything. Also, be careful who you let speak into your life. If your environment is constantly negative, constantly filled with people who mock your dreams or highlight your flaws, then that becomes part of your script too. Energy is contagious. So protect yours, choose spaces and people that remind you of your strength, not your scars. Surround yourself with voices that reflect the future you're creating, not the past you're escaping. And remember, your beliefs shape your behavior. If deep down you believe you're unworthy of wealth, you'll sabotage opportunities. If you believe money is bad, you'll push it away subconsciously. If you believe success will cost you your peace, you'll avoid it even if you say you want it. That's why you have to clean up the inner dialogue. Get brutally honest about what you really believe, not what you pretend to believe on the outside. That inner script is the foundation for every decision you make. Upgrade it, and you upgrade everything else with it, your confidence, your income, your relationships, your vision. There's nothing weak about self-work. In fact, it's the most powerful thing you can do. Reprogramming your mind takes effort. It takes repetition. It takes time, but once you do it, you realize how much noise was never even yours. You see how many limits were just illusions, and you stop living out of fear and start living with focus. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Not because you became someone else, but because you finally returned to the most powerful version of yourself. Time is one of those things everyone talks about, but almost no one truly respects. We say it's valuable. We say we don't want to waste it. But then we hand it over like it's nothing. We scroll endlessly. We say yes to things that drain us. We let our days be filled with distractions we didn't even choose. And before we know it, we look back and realize we've been busy, but not intentional. We've been occupied, but not fulfilled. There's a difference between being active and being productive. And the only way to bridge that gap is to start valuing your time like the most successful people in the world do, like billionaires do, like your time is the most expensive thing you own. Because here's the truth, money can be earned, lost, and earned again. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. You'll never get today back. You'll never get this hour again. And every minute you spend doing something that doesn't serve your growth, your health, or your dreams, your peace is a minute you can't buy back, no matter how much you earn later. People often think success is about doing more, about being everywhere at once, multitasking and chasing 10 things at a time. But the real shift happens when you start saying no, when you start getting selective, when you realize that every yes is a trade and you better know what you're giving up in return. Think about how easily people book your time. A phone call that turns into an hour, meeting that could have been an email, favor that throws off your whole schedule. And we do it because we don't want to offend, or because we think we're being helpful, or because we haven't yet learned how to guard our energy. But when you look at how people who truly value their time operate, there's a kind of discipline that's unshakable. They don't give their time away loosely. They don't respond to every ping, every buzz, every demand. They schedule their days with purpose. They treat their calendar like a fortress, not because they're selfish, but because they understand that their focus is their power. You might not have $1 billion yet, but you already have the one thing billionaires protect the most: time. The difference is they treat it like an asset. Most people treat it like a sponge, something to soak up whatever spills into their life. The shift happens when you stop living reactively and start designing your day like it matters. Because it does. How you spend your hours is how you build your life. Every small decision, what you say yes to, what you delay, what you prioritize, is either adding to your wealth or taking from it. And wealth isn't just money. It's clarity. It's peace. It's the freedom to live how you choose. Start observing where your time is really going. Track it for a week, not in theory, but in practice. Be honest about how much time is spent scrolling, doubting, overthinking, gossiping, or doing things out of guilt. You'll be shocked. We always say we don't have time, but what we often mean is we're not using it well. We're not choosing with intention. And when you realize that, you get your power back, because now you can choose differently. You can create space. You can focus. You can build. And when you value your time, people around you start to value it too. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you're always available, always overextending, always saying yes at your own expense, don't be surprised if others expect you to keep doing that. But when you start setting boundaries, when you carve out time for your goals, your rest, your growth, and protect that time like it's sacred, because it is, something shifts, not just around you, but within you. You begin to feel more in control, more grounded, more aligned. People often associate discipline with pressure, but it's actually a form of self-respect. When you decide that your time matters, you start moving differently. You stop rushing to please everyone. You stop panicking when things don't go to plan. You don't waste your hours in chaos. You operate from a place of calm clarity, because your day isn't being dictated by noise. It's being shaped by your vision. You become the architect of your time, not a victim of other people's demands. And that's where the real wealth begins, in how you spend your minutes, your hours, your days, not someday in the future. Right now, there's this strange thing that happens when people talk about money. The conversation gets awkward or silent or defensive. It's almost like there's this unspoken rule that money is either too vulgar to talk about or too complicated to understand. So instead of learning it, most people avoid it. They push it to the side and hope it figures itself out. But here's the truth. Money doesn't take care of itself. It listens to those who pay attention. And if you're serious about creating a rich life, you have to stop running from it and start learning how the game is played. You weren't born knowing how to manage money, and that's okay. No one is, but somehow we carry this shame around. Like, if we don't know how to invest or budget or read a financial statement. We're not smart enough. That shame is what keeps people stuck. Not the lack of money, not the lack of opportunity, but the fear of looking stupid when they start. And that needs to change. Because the people who win with money, they weren't born experts. They were just willing to learn, willing to ask questions, willing to make mistakes and keep going. Money, at the end of the day, is just a tool. It's not emotional. It's not judging you. It doesn't care where you started. It just responds to how well you understand it and how intentionally you use it. If you treat it with clarity and respect, it grows. If you ignore it, fear it, or mismanage it, it disappears. That's not luck or fate. It's just cause and effect. The problem is we grow up being taught how to earn it, maybe, but not how to keep it, grow it, or use it wisely. So we hustle and grind and stress about making more, thinking more money will fix the issue. But if you don't know what to do with it, more money just means confusion, not more freedom. Think of it like a game you've never played before. If someone just throws you into the middle of the game without explaining the rules, of course you're going to mistakes. Of course you're going to feel lost. But once you learn the rules, once you understand what the pieces do, how the points are scored, what the winning strategy looks like, you stop being afraid. You stop guessing. You start moving with purpose. That's what learning the game of money does. It gives you back your power. It puts you in the driver's seat. Start small. Read one book. Listen to one podcast. Follow one person who explains money in a way that makes sense to you. Don't overwhelm yourself trying to learn everything overnight. Just start. And when you start, you'll see how many myths you've been carrying, like the idea that investing is only for rich people, or that budgeting is boring, or that debt is just a normal part of life. These are stories we're handed by people who didn't know better either. Once you question them, you open the door to better options. You don't need a degree in finance to be good with money. You need curiosity, you need courage, and you need consistency. There are teenagers who know how to build wealth because they chose to learn. And there are adults earning six figures who are drowning in debt because they never did. It's not about age. It's not about background. It's about mindset. When you treat money like a subject worth mastering, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your decisions get sharper. Your stress goes down because now you know how to handle the ups and downs. Another important thing is learning to separate emotion from money. Yes, money can trigger a lot of feelings, fear, guilt, excitement, even shame. But feelings can cloud your judgment. That's why you need to learn the numbers, understand what's coming in, what's going out, where it's going, and why. Don't just hope things are okay. No. Don't wait for someone else to fix it. Take responsibility. That doesn't mean blaming yourself for the past. It means claiming your power in the present. It means making choices that reflect who you want to be, not who you used to be. You will also notice that the more you learn, the less you chase. Because when you understand how money flows, you realize you don't need to hustle endlessly or burn yourself out trying to keep up. You just need a system, a rhythm, a plan, something that aligns with your goals, your values, and your vision for the future. And once you have that, money stops being a mystery and starts being a tool you know how to use. there's something powerful that happens when action and intention walk hand in hand. Not just action for the sake of being busy, and not just dreaming for the sake of escape, but clear, focused, aligned action taken day after day, even when no one is watching, even when no one is cheering, even when the results haven't shown up yet. That's where transformation lives. That's where the magic hides, in the small, consistent, deliberate steps that most people overlook because they're too busy waiting for a breakthrough. But breakthroughs aren't accidental. They're earned through alignment. You can have the vision board, the affirmations, the goals written in gold ink. But if your daily habits don't match that vision, it's just decoration. Real success is not created in one dramatic moment. It's created in the quiet choices. What you say yes to, what you say no to, how you treat your time, your energy, your focus. It's how you show up for yourself when no one else needs you to. That's the gap between people who talk about changing their life and people who actually do it. The ones who do it take action, not perfect, not always confident, but aligned with the future they're creating. Aligned action isn't about being constantly busy or pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about moving with clarity, doing things that match your values, your goals, and your identity. You start asking different questions, not just, what should I do today? But what moves me forward today? You stop measuring your worth by how many tasks you checked off, and instead look at whether your actions are actually building the life you say you want. It's a mindset shift, and it takes honesty, because it's easy to confuse motion with progress. It's easy to stay comfortable being busy and never stop to ask, is this even taking me where I want to go? There's a kind of discipline that grows when you commit to aligned action. It's not glamorous. There are no fireworks. It might look boring from the outside, waking up early to train, studying late when you'd rather scroll, choosing your future self over temporary comfort. It's not always fun, but that's what builds strength. That's what creates results that actually last. And here's the beautiful part. When you stay in alignment long enough, your confidence grows from a different place. It's not ego. It's not external validation. It's the quiet knowing that you can trust yourself to follow through. Every action you take is either a vote for the person you want to become or a vote against it. That doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you have to be intentional. If your dream is to be financially free, then what are you doing today to learn, earn, or save? If your goal is to be fit and healthy, what are you putting into your body and how are you moving it? If your desire is to build something meaningful, a business, a relationship, a reputation, what are you contributing to it today? Aligned action isn't about waiting for the perfect time. It's about realizing that now is all you have and now is more than enough to start. The excuses will always be there. The timing isn't right. You're too tired. You're not ready. But those are just fears in disguise. And the only way to silence fear is through movement, not reckless movement, but intentional forward movement. One step, then another. Show up today, even if you feel behind. Do what you can with what you have, even if it's not much. Progress doesn't need perfection. It needs consistency. It needs alignment. And that begins with making choices that reflect who you are becoming, not just who you've been. It's also important to give yourself space to pivot. Alignment doesn't mean rigidity. It means awareness. You might set out on a path thinking it's right for you and then learn something new about yourself along the way. That's growth. That's not failure. The key is to keep checking in. Does this still feel true to me? Am I still heading in the direction that lights me up, or have I started drifting toward what's familiar? Taking aligned action means you don't just act blindly. You stay awake, you stay honest, and you stay committed not to the comfort of your past, but to the power of your potential. No one sees the hours you put in behind the scenes, but those are the hours that count the most. That's where you're shaping your mindset, building your resilience, creating momentum. Aligned action is like planting seeds. You don't see the tree right away, but you trust the process. You water it daily. You show up even when it feels slow, because you know the roots are growing. You know the foundation is being built. And you know that one day all those invisible steps will become visible results. There's something incredibly powerful about the people you allow into your space. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The energy around you either feeds your growth or slowly drains it. And often we underestimate just how much the people we spend the most time with are shaping our beliefs, our habits, and even the way we speak to ourselves. If you're constantly around people who complain, who settle, who talk down to themselves or others, it's only a matter of time before that mindset starts sinking into your own thinking. You can have all the ambition in the world. If your circle doesn't reflect the energy, it becomes harder to maintain it. It not impossible, but heavier, like trying to run while carrying weight that doesn't belong to you. Growth doesn't happen in isolation, and it definitely doesn't happen in the middle of negativity. You need people who challenge you, who see more in you than you see in yourself sometimes. People who hold you to a higher standard, not out of pressure, but out of love. People who don't get uncomfortable when you talk about big dreams, who don't feel threatened by your ambition, who don't try to shrink your voice so theirs feels louder. Growth-minded people aren't afraid of change. They welcome it. They don't gossip, they plan. They don't tear down, they build. And when you're around that kind of energy, something in you rises to meet it. But to get to that place, you have to be honest about the people who are already in your space. It doesn't mean cutting people off left and right or acting superior. It just means paying attention. Are you constantly the one giving, encouraging, motivating while no one does the same for you? Do your ideas feel safe in the space you're in, or do you find yourself shrinking them to avoid judgment? Are you surrounded by people who actually want to grow, just people who are comfortable staying exactly where they are and expect you to do the same? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary ones, because sometimes the people you've known the longest are the ones who understand you the least, and that's okay. Not everyone will come with you on your journey, and that doesn't make them bad people. It just means they were part of one chapter, not the whole story. The sooner you accept that, the lighter you become. You stop trying to drag people forward who don't want to move. You stop begging for support from people who were never equipped to give it. And you start making room for the right people, the ones who get it, the ones who light up when you succeed, the ones who ask you what you're building, not what you're waiting for. When you find a growth-minded circle, even small wins feel like big celebrations. The energy is different. There's less jealousy and more joy, less competition, more collaboration. There's room for everyone to rise because no one's trying to keep anyone down. And that doesn't mean it's always easy or fluffy. Growth-minded people will call you out when you're playing small. They'll remind you of your standards when you forget. They'll push you to face the truth you're avoiding, not because they're being harsh, but because they see what you're capable of and they refuse to let you settle for less. Sometimes you have to outgrow your environment before you grow into your potential. That might mean spending more time alone for a while. That might mean creating boundaries that feel uncomfortable at first. That might mean going to events, reading new books, listening to people who are where you want to be, even if you feel like the smallest one in the room. That's how you stretch. That's how you rise. You surround yourself with people who don't let you make excuses, who remind you of what it's possible, and who live in a mindset of abundance, not limitation. It's not about only surrounding yourself with successful people. It's about surrounding yourself with intentional people, people who are self-aware, people who are learning, evolving, taking risks, being honest with themselves, people who are okay with not having it all figured out, but who are willing to try anyway, people who lift others as they rise. When you're around that kind of energy consistently, it's impossible to stay stagnant. It rubs off on you. It wakes something up in you. You start thinking bigger. You start moving differently. You stop waiting for permission and start giving yourself the green light. And maybe most importantly, you realize you're not alone, that your dreams aren't too big, that your pace isn't too fast, that your hunger for more isn't something to be embarrassed about. It's something to be honored. And when you find people who feel the same, who are walking their own path of growth with grace, grit, gratitude, you realize that the journey doesn't have to feel so heavy. It can feel supported. It can feel inspired. It can feel like a shared mission, not just a solo climb.